Okay, let's talk about a feeling that every single one of us knows. That quiet, nagging sense that something's missing. That the next promotion, the next trip, the next whatever will finally be the thing that makes us happy. It's that little whisper of discontent that shows up even when things are going great. I mean, really, think about it. You got the job you were dreaming of. You bought the house, you met the person, and for a second, right, it was amazing. But then the glow just kind of fades. And almost without you even noticing, your eyes start looking for the next thing on the horizon. If that sounds painfully familiar, well, you are in very good company. And here's the most important thing I'm going to say today, right up front. That feeling is not a personal failure. It doesn't mean you're broken or ungrateful or doing something wrong. It is a core feature of your human operating system. It was literally designed into us for some very specific and pretty surprising reasons. So to really get this, we have to go way, way back. Because to understand why we're so restless today, we have to look at the ancient programming that built our brains in the first place. See, your brain's number one job isn't to make you happy, it's to keep you alive. This right here, this simplifies a huge truth about why we're here. Just imagine two types of early humans. One finds a berry bush, eats their fill, and thinks, "Great, I'm content," and takes a nap. The other one eats their fill and immediately thinks, "Okay, where's the next berry bush?" Which one do you think passed on their genes? Exactly, the restless one. That drive, that constant low-level dissatisfaction, it's literally in our DNA because it's what kept us alive. So, modern psychology has a fantastic name for this whole mechanism. They call it the hedonic treadmill. And it's this idea that we all have a kind of baseline level of happiness. When something great happens, sure, we get a nice little boost, but we adapt so quickly that new amazing situation just becomes the new normal.
And you see this play out all the time. Let's say you get that promotion you've been grinding for. For a week, maybe two, you're on top of the world. But pretty soon, that new salary is just your salary. That new title is just your job. And your brain, right on cue, is already scanning the horizon for the next promotion, the next goal. The treadmill just keeps on moving.
Okay, so that's the big evolutionary why. But now let's zoom in on the neurochemical how. What is actually going on inside our heads that keeps us running on this treadmill? Well, it all comes down to a very famous and very misunderstood little molecule. For ages, we've heard dopamine called the pleasure chemical, but it turns out that's not quite right. More and more research shows that dopamine isn't about pleasure or liking something. It's about wanting something. It's the chemical of motivation, of pursuit, of the chase. It's what gets you off the couch to go get the thing. And here's the crazy part. Once you actually get the reward, your dopamine levels often drop. The chase was the real thrill. Now, this is where our modern world comes in and hijacks this ancient system. Think about it, the infinite scroll on your phone, the little red dot of a notification, the next episode button that plays before you can even think. These things are all perfectly, brilliantly engineered to keep you in a dopamine loop of constant wanting and pursuing, often without ever giving you any real, lasting satisfaction. But wait, there's more. It's not just our ancient wiring and our brain chemistry. There's a third layer to this, something uniquely human, consciousness itself. Our amazing ability to think, to remember, to imagine. Well, it's a gift for sure, but it might just be the main reason we're never satisfied. You see, unlike most animals, we don't just live in the now. We are constantly living on a mental timeline. We have this remembered past, which we often polish up to look like some golden age. We have this imagined future with a million better possibilities. And what's stuck right in the middle, the present moment, which almost always looks kind of flawed and imperfect by comparison. It's so hard to just be content with what is. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer absolutely nailed this. He said, life is like a pendulum, constantly swinging back and forth. On one side, you have the pain of wanting something you don't have. And on the other, the second you get what you want, you swing over to boredom. A void opens up, and your mind immediately starts looking for the next thing to want, just to get away from being bored. And at the deepest level, our minds are just meaning-making machines. We desperately crave a story, a purpose, a why for it all. But here's the thing about the search for meaning. It's a quest that by its very nature can never be finished. Any answer you find is just for now. It's always changing. And this endless existential search is yet another powerful engine for our discontent.
So, I know, this all might sound a little bit depressing, right?
It seems like we're hardwired for dissatisfaction on every possible level. But what if we've been looking at this the wrong way the whole time? What if this constant striving isn't a curse, but is actually our greatest superpower?
This is the great paradox of being human. The very same internal engine that causes our anxiety, our burnout, our mindless consumerism, is also the source of our greatest achievements. It's the restlessness that fuels scientific discovery. It's the dissatisfaction that creates incredible art. It's the feeling that this isn't good enough that leads to all human progress. It has always been a double-edged sword. So what do we do with this? Well, we can learn to manage the engine. We're never going to turn it off, but we can learn to steer it. Things like mindfulness help us just watch our cravings come and go without having to act on them. Practicing gratitude is like actively pushing back on the treadmill, forcing our brains to notice what's already good. But notice the key word here is managing, not curing. The engine is always going to be running. And that's really the big idea to walk away with. To wish away our dissatisfaction would be to wish away the very force that has pushed humanity forward since the beginning. Every great symphony, every medical breakthrough, every step toward a better world began with someone, somewhere, looking at the way things were and thinking, this is not enough. We can do better. Our entire civilization is a monument to our glorious productive discontent. So in the end, that feeling isn't a bug that needs to be fixed. It's a feature. It's a massive source of energy. So the question isn't how you can finally get rid of it. The real question is, where are you going to point it?